Guys, this is Maureen Kamari of Amari Baking Center, and today I was going live to share some tips on getting equipment and considerations you have to make when you're getting equipment. Before I start showing you guys equipment, I just wanted to share 3 things you have to consider when you're actually buying equipment, right? So I get a lot of questions about this. We get a lot of DMs on our page about equipment, and the first thing you really want to think about is what type of bakery business do you have? And that's why it's really hard to answer what equipment do I need. By this I mean, what niche are you in and what setup do you have? Now, most people are home bakers, so usually if you're a home baker, that's one thing to consider. Second thing, are you opening a shop? Are you opening a custom shop? Are you doing a retail shop where people will walk in? The third thing you should consider is, are you doing an industrial bakery? This means like you're gonna mass produce something. So those are things you have to consider, right? Second thing you have to consider is your budget. Do you have a set amount for what you have to buy? Because I can tell you to get all kinds of equipment, but you're the one who knows your budget. So this is the second thing you have to think about. If you're home-based, maybe your budget is a little smaller. If you're able to open a shop, your budget's a little bit bigger. And then if it's industrial, obviously your budget is huge. So that's the other thing you want to consider. The third thing that I tell you to consider is business goals. This is especially true if you already are baking and you have some equipment and you're thinking of getting more equipment. So my question to you is, if you were doing just 2 cakes a week and maybe you want to start doing 20 cakes a day, these are the goals you have to consider. So when you're doing equipment, that's the third thing I tell you to consider. What are your business goals? You might be making 1 cake a day today, but maybe in 3 months you want to be making 10 cakes a day. So when you buy equipment, you want to buy equipment that, matches your business goals. And also, if you have business goals, does your budget actually suit your business goals? So I always tell you, those are the 3 things to consider as you're buying your equipment, all right? So I'll start with measuring equipment, guys. And I'll just show you what we have so you have an idea of what you're actually supposed to be using, guys. So the first thing is, when you're measuring your ingredients, if you're baking, even if you're baking at home, guys, these are the things I tell you you must have. You want to have a liter jug. This is for measuring liquids, all right? Always have a liter jug, and always have a measuring cup set like this. This is also invaluable because some things are so tiny they do need to be measured with spoons, and the other ones you do want to use cups. And you can get this at cake supply shops like Top Serve Limited. They sell them, and they actually have the writings on the cups and the milliliters that are written. So these are so a must. And the other one that these days I tell you is a must to have, guys, no matter what, you want to have a kitchen scale. For anybody who's trying to do a 1 kg cake, guess what? You really need to actually be able to measure grams. And then it's the only way to actually accurately bake your cake every time. So you want to have a weighing scale or a kitchen scale. So make sure these 3, they're like the most important things to actually have when you're starting to bake. Now, the other thing you can add on to it, because you need to measure your temperature, and this is becoming something I tell you that is very important in your kitchen, is a high temperature thermometer. Now, this actually tells you the temperature, and yes, I know that most home appliances actually come with inbuilt ones, but sometimes they don't work so well. So you really always want to have a high temperature thermometer so you can actually be able to tell the temperature of your oven. So anybody who's struggling with oven, maybe it's running too hot, get this. They're like 400 from Top Serve, or 700 for the larger one, and it's totally worth it. So if you're measuring anything, these are the equipment you have to have, guys. All right, the mixing equipment, this is really important because you need to mix your cake appropriately, especially if it's cake, but also if it's bread as well. So I'll go through the stuff you can start with if you're a home baker, and then we'll go on to the mixers. All right, so obviously the first thing you need is a sieve and bowls. Especially if you're doing cake, you do need to measure. Now, I always tell you, if you can get bowls like these, guys, these are stainless steel, and it's a really good quality, which is really perfect and food safe. Plastic bowls are okay, but sometimes they'll get cracks and they can get germs in there, so you really don't want that. Then make sure you have a nice large stainless steel sieve. Works the best. You can start with plastic, but these are really the best, okay? Then after that, you want to have a spatula like this. Now, you might start with one like a wooden one for starters, but then what happens is, if you can over time, you want to get a rubber spatula like this. They're silicone, but they're called rubber because of the way they're rubbery like this. So you want to have spatulas for your folding and your mixing, even breads. The other thing you want to have is a whisk, is a whisk. So you want to have metal whisk like these, but you really want a strong one like these ones, because guys, you need to be careful when you get whisks like these. Sometimes these things come off, right? So you don't want to get them so cheap that this thing comes off and you have to keep putting it back. Like with this one, we always have to do that. You want like these that don't really come off. So make sure when you're shopping for a whisk, you're really looking at the durability of this whisk, guys, all right? Then I always tell you it's good to have pastry brushes. They're good for brushing pastries and also preparing your pan. You really want this kind of plastic bristle. It's really food safe. If you can get these. It's actually a silicone brush. It's absolutely food safe, especially if you're looking at food safety when it comes to your bakery, okay? And then of course you want to have small bowls, and I like having this. This is a skewer. It's for checking when your cake is done. You can use a toothpick or a long wooden skewer, but this is awesome because, you know, it does what it's supposed to do. Now the thing that most people tend to be really interested as we grow as bakers.
Mariam Mahina says hi.
Hi Mariam.
So Anne, Beatrice.
Hi Anne.
And Olwa Kemi.
Hi.
And then Jacinta says, where can I get a thermometer?
Jacinta, if you mean this high temperature thermometer, most cake supply shop have them, right? And the one I always tell you to get from is Top Serve Limited. They tend to have a lot of things, which is why I always refer them to you guys. The small one usually goes for about 400 to 500, and the larger one is usually like 700 to 800. So please get one. Really important when you're baking at home. I hope you guys can see this, and this is a really used one, so it's a little dirty, but it's cool. All right guys, I will continue on to the mixers because this is a really contentious issue for a lot of people. So a lot of you guys probably have seen this. We call these handheld mixers. This is when, sorry guys, this is when you buy this by itself, and basically you just put it on and it works, and you put in your beaters. I'll show you how to put it on using this other one, and it comes as it is in the box. Usually they're like, these days maybe 2,000 to 3,000 cost. They're good when you're doing this at home, but please guys know this is a home appliance. It cannot be used for too long every day. It's gonna spoil. And you can get different brands. Ramtons is a good one, like this one is a Ramtons. And there's many others out there. They don't always last so long. As you get busier, they actually start spoiling, so you want to be careful about that. So that's a handheld mixer, perfect for a home baker, right? Or for just starting. The next thing that is also a home appliance, if you'll notice, it is similar, but it's called a standalone mixer. It's still a home appliance, but it comes with this stand right here and a bowl. Now I used to love these a lot because they come with this bowls, even though these days I think they do more plastic these days, but they're really awesome. Now just to show you the other side, if you want to work with this, you plug it in, this button generally releases and it goes up, but please know this does not rotate, okay? It's just gonna work as it is. So you're just gonna put it in there, put it on, and it's just gonna work as it is. Now the thing about this is you have to keep moving your mix like this, which is what for me would drive me crazy. So they do tend also to be slightly cheaper. They go between 3 to 5K, but they only do like 2 to 3 kgs, and they also spoil after a lot of usage. So I would say they're great for the bowls, but after some time, if you're getting busy, they're not really helpful. So let's say you're a home baker and you're getting busy. You're moving from a 3 cakes to like 5 to 10 cakes a week. You still not there where you want to get a commercial mixer, but you're in between. You don't want to hold on to your home appliance because it's not cutting it, and you're getting busier and you have to keep waiting, especially if you have to mix 1 or 2 kg, because this can only do up to 2 kg, or like maybe 1.5, let me say 2 kg is pushing it. So if you're there, I would suggest getting this in between. These are more newer in the market, a lot of these types of mixers, but they're really great. Now I'll show you the one I have, and then I'll talk about some others that I don't have. this is a particular nice one, and I like it because the cost is friendly for somebody who's looking for an in-between and not so expensive. So this is a Merit. I'm not sure if it's written, what side it's written on. Oh, it's written Merit. So this is Merit. Usually Top Serve are the ones who are stocking this, and they're really great because of their many features. I did a review video. I can just link that on there just to show you guys, but just you release from there. And the great thing about this mixer, guys, is that it actually comes with like tons of attachments. So you can whisk your stuff, you can use the beaters, and this beater is amazing because it gets all through the bowl. And you can actually, we've done fondant and bread with this. So you see it has a dough hook. So I love this because it's for the people, before you get to extremely commercial, you're in between your home baker who's starting to get busy. This is really perfect for that. And it actually, we've tested it with at least 3 kg, even though safely you want to say 2.5 kg. It rotates, the mixing actually rotates. I'll link the video so you can see how that works. It actually rotates, and it's very heavy. You can do like 3 or 4 loaves of bread, cookie dough, tons of things. So if you're that in between, I don't have a lot of money for a really large commercial oven or just a large commercial mixer that's countertop, and you know, it's almost like the brand that I would tell you to go for are this Merit. There's an Andrew James. If you're looking for more high-end, there's a KitchenAid. So if you're looking for something way stronger than this, this is where I tell you to go. So this is a Caterina. These are workhorses, and a lot of people in the industry really, really love them. Now, KitchenAid actually have also something similar to this. It's this size, so you can get that if you would like. But at the same time, all right, guys, so we haven't used this for a while, so there's a little bit of dust on it. And that's because really we're using the Merit these days more than anything. So forgive the dust, but generally, this is what we use when we're doing like up to 5 kgs of baking, right? So what I want to show you is that obviously you want to clean your mixer if you haven't used it for a while. Like this one. So what we do is we open, I don't know if you guys saw that. So this is how we open this, right? We have this little thing that releases and it lifts up. Obviously it has a splash guard, and it comes with a whisk, paddle attachment, and a hook, right? It's also, I really love it because it's fully metal, so that's also a really good thing to notice. This is really, really metallic and really heavy, and the bowl is obviously larger. This is a 7.5, so that means it's gonna do, we've actually pushed it to 6 kg, but most of the time we try to keep it to 5 kg. And you just close this, and generally, you just put it on with this and put it off with this, and as you can see, it has the different gears from this side right here. So we love using this, especially when we're doing weddings or when we're doing large amounts of fondant. This also works very, very well. So guys, if you are really taking your business to the next level, I'm talking about maybe 10 kgs a day up to like 20 kgs a day, you can actually use this mixer you can actually buy this mixer, guys. I've talked about mixing, so now I'm gonna get to baking. And the first thing I want to tell you guys, there are 2 things you have to worry about when you're doing baking: pans and ovens. So I'm gonna go really quick through the pans, and then I'm gonna go to the ovens. When we're talking about pans, you have a large amount of like variety. So I want to ask you, the one thing you want to think about is your niche. Are you doing cakes, breads, or pastries? So if you're doing cakes, which most people are doing, you want to get like this type of pans. Juakali is the best place to go. So if you know someone, you can get from them. I think Top Serve and other cake supply shops do sell like these, even though they're aluminum, which is so much better. And you need at least a 0.5 kg, 1 kg, and like a 2 kg pan. And you want to have at least 3 sizes, guys. You can get a round one, you can get square ones, and you can also get love heart ones. Maybe you can always like buy a set if you know you want, and some people sell them this way, guys, like this. So like a heart set of 3, right? So this is if you're doing the cake stuff. Another thing that you can have if you're doing cupcakes, obviously, is the cupcake pan. The one thing I want to mention about this, there's 2 main types sold in the market. There's a regular style, and that's the 95 mm, and then there's a muffin style that's a little larger like this one, that's 110 mm. Now, if you're doing a lot of pastry, pizza stuff, this is what you want to have. Tiny ones are good, but really, you want to have baking sheets like this. See? It can do cookies, it can do scones, it can do, you know, pastries. Now, if you're doing bread, you want this loaf pans, right? There's small ones and there's medium ones. So you can do a loaf pan if your niche is bread. And finally, if you're gonna do slices or corporate cakes, sorry, this is one we haven't used for a while, so it's still dusty as well. You wanna use sheet pans. I hope you guys can actually see how large this is. This is a 16 by 16 sheet pan. I think Top Serve actually sell this in other cake supply shops, and it's usually the aluminum kind, which is really good material. So you want to have these large ones if you're doing corporate cakes, or you're doing, you know, cake slices, or you're even doing pre-packs for baking. So that's on the pans, guys. When you're baking, you usually, if you're a home baker, you're going to start with your home oven, which is a really good idea, except for when you get busy, it becomes a problem because it starts spoiling, the element burns out, all that. So really what you want is you actually want to start going to the next level. Now, looking at budget, if you can, get a large size electric oven or a large size gas oven. People like Beko or Electa actually have one. Hotpoint sometimes have them. You want to get those brands because they really do a good job, but those maybe hold, I'd say 3 to 4 kg, like 3 to 4 kg, which is good if you're looking for a budget of between like 60 to 70,000, right? Now, if you want, you can actually go to Katerina, Kenya. They sell a deck oven for about that 65 to 80,000 that can do about 36 loaves. I'd say that's about maybe 5 1 kg cakes, right? So if you're getting really serious, you can also invest in that. That works out. So if you're serious, go to Katerina, Kenya, go early in the morning, and you might get a deal of like from 70,000 to like 80, or 65 to 80 if they have a sale. So that's one thing to consider. You can also look for gas ovens for the same, but these days electric ovens are more common. So if you're going from home appliance and you want to invest in a Katerina one deck oven. After that, they go higher. You can talk to them and ask them about larger ones. The other one, if you have, or if you're thinking about it, like we do use charcoal ovens. I do always give you a 50-50. It's a good way to go, especially if you're in a rural area or somewhere where there's no electricity. But the other thing to consider about that is that charcoal these days did go a bit higher, so it does tend to be a little bit more expensive. But you can start with a small one as you're working up to either a gas or electric oven. So I think that's all I can mention about ovens. And this is how it looks like. So it has the one liner and it has the 3 racks. When you're baking cake, we actually bake from here, and down here. Here we only bake like meat or anything that's like a savory item. If you put cake here, it does tend to burn. But it's a good place to start if you're starting a home business before you actually grow the business. And this is basically a Brum. So this is why I say home appliance, mainly because obviously this is like something when we were starting, this is what we have as a home appliance. It actually does 1 kg cake, or it does 2 half kg cakes, and that's all it can do, guys. But it's a good place to start. But don't make this a main oven because it can give you issues. But I do love it because it's a gas oven, which means that even if electricity goes off, guys, will actually be fine. Yay, awesome. So I'm gonna finish up this session with the cake decoration just to wrap this up, because I did want to mention that. So the tools to have when you're decorating cake, I tell you, if you're getting started and you're really low on budget, have at least a bread knife. This helps you like level your cakes. Have this, we call this an icing spatula or a palette knife, like a straight one. If you can, get a longer one, but the best thing is having 2. This is what we call an offset spatula. So if you have a straight one and an offset one, you're good to go. If you can, guys, get a bench scraper. Really great. We have many tutorials on how to use this to smoothen your cakes. And then of course, have a piping bag, a coupler, and a couple of nozzles, right? But the thing, guys, if you really are getting into the cake industry, you really want to be decorating a lot, I would suggest getting a kit that has many things. Now, there's many kits out in the market, but the one kit that I'm always plugging because it's just a really great idea, guys, is this one. I won't even show you the inside. I just kind of want to show you what you get in here. The reason why I'm always plugging this kit is because, as you can see, it has a ton of things for beginners. If you get this, you don't have to buy things for a while if you're just going to be decorating birthday cakes and, you know, just regular cakes. It has a turntable, it has a cake leveler, it has measuring cups and spoons, a comb which helps you do design on the side, fondant smoother if you do get into the fondant game. It has piping bags, a spatula which you can use for cake, guys, an icing spatula for decorating, and it has some extra things that can help you start doing buttercream flowers. So this is nice because kits like this kind of give you a little bit of everything. You see how many nozzles they tend to have, so it's really worth it because it has these little extra things you're able to decorate with, and you have a turntable which is basically what you need to get started. So most of these tend to be really important because they have a lot of everything you want. So if you can, and this one is just $3,500, and I say just because the total cost of all these things is way more than 3,500 shillings. So you can either buy just a few things or just decide to get the kit, and you're good for decoration for a while as you grow your skill and add on more things as you discover. All right, guys, so it's been fun. I hope you've learned a lot, and you can now make a good decision on your baking equipment, guys. I will see you guys next time. Make sure you hit them love bubbles and leave a comment. I really appreciate. Me and Ellie say goodbye.